Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Gregory Martin, aka the Super Producer. And before we get into the video, please don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. It keeps you notified when I drop a video. And with that out of the way, let's just jump right into today's topic. Today we are discussing how to prepare for a film market. So this is going to be a three-part series tied with the European film market, which opens later this week. This is just a helpful guide for first-time filmmakers or producers or anybody who's just attending EFM or just the film markets in general. These can be a very challenging and it can feel like a daunting experience going to a foreign country or attending a market you're not familiar with. So these are just some ideas and some tips that I've kind of gathered through my experiences of attending markets from the very first time I attended to now being a veteran of the markets, of what I kind of feel are the best practices to really have a successful market. And these aren't in any particular order. These are just the way that I kind of thought of them, and I just wanted to kind of get them out there and share with you guys the best way that I can. And with that out of the way, let's just get right into the first tip. So the first tip is to scout the market before you go. The majority of the film markets are located overseas. The European film market, which is in Berlin, the Cannes Film Festival / Marché des Films, which is in France, and you have markets in China, Japan, Thailand, South America, and so forth. And one of the best practices that I found that is really helpful is to get a map of the market. Most of these markets have downloadable campus maps that kind of show you the lay of the land, where everything's positioned, where the major landmarks are. And I suggest anybody who's attending these markets for the first time is to get these maps and use them as a guide for when you're planning your meetings. One thing that that happens a lot, especially for people who are not familiar with the market, you are so excited to go to the market. You have a chance to meet with all these different executives who can help you in whatever aspect you need to be a help for your filmmaking career. And you try to schedule as many meetings as possible. And you may schedule a meeting here that's in the main location, and then you schedule another meeting, and the individual or company they have offices outside of the general campus area. Usually the rule that I kind of follow is to give myself at least 30 minutes to an hour to get to any meeting. But some of these locations on the map, it may seem one way, but in reality, that distance, that small 1-inch distance, may be a couple miles on foot. I say that because it's happened to me a bunch, and I kind of gotten better. I would say in a place like Cannes, where everything for the most part is grouped together. However, there are times where I've had meetings at different bungalows or different beaches that are in Cannes. I finished with one meeting, and I'm literally running to get to the other meeting. And by the time I get there, I'm like out of breath, disheveled, and I need another 5 to 10 minutes to get myself together. And then without fail, the meeting doesn't really go particularly the way I want to, because my energy is just off. The best way to combat that is to, again, plan accordingly. Mark up the distance, and then also don't schedule your meetings so close together. They're part of the main campus. You can kind of cut it a little bit thinner than you would do outside the campus, but my thoughts would be to make sure you scout. My second tip is to create marketing material before you go to the markets. I think this is one of these things that's so underrated. And I know filmmakers do it, but I don't think some filmmakers put enough emphasis on creating the right marketing material. So what I like to do when I attend the markets is I bring about 1,000 business cards. Even though I know I'm not gonna go through 1,000 business cards, I have to have 1,000 business cards with me. Just whether I meet people on outside of meetings, I meet people in the main campus, I meet people just around town. A big part of the market experience is everybody in that town, for the most part, knows that's what's going on. And so you kind of tend to find and discover people who are also in town attending the market as well. And then it also just makes you look more professional to have a business card on you. Another thing I like to do is I like to create market booklets. What I do is every market that I attend, I like to create my production book. So my production book consists of information about my company, what we've done in the past, what we're doing currently, and what we plan to do. It also has films that I've completed. It has films that are currently in production, if you have some, and also films that you are developing. And as far as the films that I have in development, I kind of like to just put not everything that I'm working on, but maybe like a good 5 to 6 films I have a log line for. And then I also like to put like a status phase. So I would say whether it's in script phase, or I'm reaching out to writers, or we're financing, or wherever the deal may be. I like to put that into the booklet. And what I like to do is I like to print out anywhere from 50 to 100 of these. And when I say booklets, I mean booklets. I go to a professional printer and get these printed off. I have a selected group of people that I like to give these to, so that they have something physical, something tangible to remember the meeting by. Once you do your follow-ups, and we'll get into that later, they always will have like, oh yeah, I did meet that person. So I always like having that physical form that people can actually see. The only downside about that, if you have a booklet that has 10 films, you have to make sure you are able to speak on every film that you have there. You never want to be caught in a position where someone sees something that's caught their eye and can't easily recall, the details of that particular film. The next thing you have to do is make sure you set up your meetings properly. Now, this kind of ties into what I said about scouting the market before you attend. You need to know who's going to be attending the market. Every market, they always have some way for you to know ahead of time who's already registered to attend these markets. I know on a website like Zalando, you can easily find out what people or representatives from companies are attending the different markets and festivals. One thing I really like about Zalando is they have a little sticker that they put next to the company's name and the representatives who have registered or say that they're coming to these different markets. So this information is known anywhere from 2 to 3 months prior to the market. Typically, I like to plan my meetings anywhere from 4 weeks to 6 weeks out. Prior to me actually contacting people, I like to make a list of everybody who I need or want to meet. So if I'm going to be selling a film, if I have a finished film and I don't have a sales agent, I'm making a list of the different sales agents who represent my type of film, and I'm making a list, getting all the contact information prior to that, that 4 to 6 week mark. Then once that 4 to 6 week mark hits, I'm contacting everybody within my list. Now, say you have 100 people you want to meet. I think a good average would be having 30 to 40 of those people actually end up in meetings. The markets are very structured in a way where people who are there to sell films and buy films, that focus is usually at the beginning of the market, and then more so towards like the middle of the market, towards the end is when people make time with producers who have films that they are actually raising financing for, or are looking to attach sales agents or distributors to their film. Once the market actually gets underway, maybe it's just me speaking, and maybe it's something I really have had to do, because I always typically get the meetings that I want. I've never had to, day of the market, kind of go door to door or booth to booth trying to set up meetings, because I feel that rarely happens unless you just have something that's phenomenal, or there's just time in that executive schedule or the company's schedule for them to meet with you. I've never seen that work out. But I mean, you're always welcome to try. Now, this next tip, I'm not sure how many people actually do it. Set goals and manage your expectations. Everybody's goal is to sell their film, get financing for the film, worldwide theatrical release, sell to every territory in the world, and make a lot of money. That's everybody's expectation. But that's not really realistic. Unobtainable expectations can lead to a letdown and lead to more stress. So maybe I'm trying to raise money for my film. I don't try to set just a very broad goal. Oh, I want to raise money. I set like, okay, I want to raise X amount of dollars for my film. For me, it gives you a target to shoot at. You know, if you're just kind of going on a very broad aspect, your focus is everywhere. You tend to make mistakes. You tend to put too much pressure on yourself, and the people who you meet see that. They see that desperation. They see your body language, just whatever. It comes off. People see it. If you come with a more measured approach, at the end of the market, you will walk away, you know, feeling more accomplished versus just going out there with on a whim. And then after you attend more markets, you can tailor your approach accordingly. There's some markets where I know I'm not going to raise financing yet because I've just never have. You know, my goal may be to start a conversation, gain interest, gain traction, and then maybe on the next market is where I actually either close that deal or I use that deal as a springboard. Now, everyone's approach is different. Everyone's success of the markets varies, and you just have to know what works for you and what has worked and kind of tailor your approach to that success. And this last tip is really just for you to have fun at the markets. You know, the markets have plenty of opportunity for you to network outside of the normal, you know, usually 9 to 6, 10 to 6 time frame. But every market has a networking event. Even companies have private parties, individuals have parties. So you have to make friends, you have to network. I've gained more colleagues in this business through after hours than I have during the normal, you know, 9 to, like I said, 9 to 6, 10 to 6 day. But people are a little bit more honest with you. I found people kind of tell you more how it is and what gets traction, what doesn't. And then also it's an opportunity for you to really build relationships with people and not just work relationships. You know, this business, yes, is very transactional, but there is a lane for you to really get to know people, and people are very interesting outside the normal, you know, structures that you see. Definitely, if you have opportunity to network, go to parties. If you're invited to parties, definitely go. You never know who you'll meet, who you'll see, who you'll run into, and you know what those people can do for you or what you can do for them later down the road. So those are my tips about how to prepare for the market. Obviously, there's more things that, you know, could have been covered, but those are just a few things that I find very important to me when I prepare for the market. You know, if you have any suggestions or things that work for you, please feel free to drop them in the comment. And I hope that these tips help you guys navigate not just EFM if you're going, but also just markets in general. And with that being said, please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.